Hello, my name is Ella Schlens, and I'm here to take you back to East London in the 1960s. Now that I've set the scene, we're going to explore some of the darker, more dangerous places in London, places where the Kray brothers were in full control. In my speech today, I will talk about Ronald Kray, then Reginald Kray, and then the aftermath of all their crime. Gangsters and mobsters were only in movies, or just in New York. Gangsters are all around the world, but today we are going to focus on the Kray twins. I don't know about you guys personally, but mobster movies and all types of old-fashioned organized crime have always interested me. So when I was looking for a movie a couple months ago on Netflix, I came across a movie called Legend with Tom Hardy as both of the Kray twins. I immediately binged all 2 hours and 12 minutes of it, and I've watched it a good 2 or 3 times since my first viewing, and I highly recommend it. Some of us, if not all of us, have experienced some type of organized crime, whether it's on TV or in real life. We all know what the phrase organized crime means. If by chance you don't, I will give you the definition according to Encyclopedia Britannica, accessed on October 15th, 2020. Organized crime, a complex of highly centralized enterprises set up for the purpose of engaging in illegal activities, such as organizations engage in offenses such as cargo theft, fraud, robbery, kidnapping for ransom, and the demanding of protection payments. What started out as just intimidation and a few fistfights turned into serious crimes such as murders. First, I'm going to talk about Ronald Kray. Ronald, or Ronnie Kray, was considered the troubled one out of the two. He was sent to a mental institution after stabbing a man with a bayonet and beating him until he was unconscious. If you look here, you see the bayonet that was auctioned and sold from anywhere between £2,000 and £5,000. According to an article done by Daily Mail UK, accessed on October 15, 2020, his twin and a member of the Kray gang, also known as the Firm, went to visit Ronnie at the institution one day. While Reggie was visiting, the twins switched places and helped Ronnie escape. After the cops found out, they wanted Ronnie to turn himself in, but someone called in a favor and the whole situation was dropped. An article done by History.com, accessed on October 15th, about gay rights in the 60s, said that businesses felt threatened by cops to be shut down if they were allowing service. So instead of fighting the cops, they just denied services. In the 60s, gay rights were slim, if not non-existent. This wasn't something that Ronnie Kray felt threatened by. In fact, he made it a point to have his preference known. And anyone that had anything to say about it would be severely beaten by Ronnie himself. In the picture you see to the left, there's an image of Ronnie and his boyfriend, Bobby Buckley. Next, I'm going to talk about Reginald Kray. Reginald Kray, also known as Reggie, was a lot calmer. Don't get me wrong, he would do anything for his brother, but he liked to keep his business and his appearance clean to avoid any questions from the cops that were already building a case against him. An article published by HorrorHistory.net, accessed on October 15th, 2020, talked about the murder of Jack McVitie, also known as Jack the Hat. The twins hired Jack and paid him £1,000 to kill one of the lead cops building the case against them. His name was Leslie Payne, Jack failed in his attempt to kill Payne, and for this, the twins would seek revenge. Reggie stabbed Jack with a carving knife at a party surrounded by witnesses. The party was over, and the members of the Firm were ordered to dispose of Jack's body in the documentary published by Timeline World History Documentaries, accessed on October 15th. You can hear from firsthand experiences that the men that were in charge of disposing Jack's body, and they faced jail time due to this. Last but not least, the aftermath of their crimes. Ronnie Kray got away clean with the murder of George Cornell, as you can see in the picture. In 1966, George had made remarks to Ronnie about his sexuality. And because of that, one night, Ronnie went into the pub where George was at and shot him right between the eyes. Back then, there were no security cameras, so all the evidence the cops had was what people told him, which was nothing in that case. The Krays were feared by everyone. They changed the atmosphere as they walked into the room. Due to the abundance of fear in the area, the Krays offered protection to businesses at a monthly fee, which helped them build their empire. These two brothers you see for all of their collective crimes, were both sentenced to life in prison. Ronnie, who was serving out his sentence in a mental hospital, suffered from a heart attack and died in 1995. His brother Reggie was released on compassionate grounds, but was dying from terminal bladder cancer. Reggie passed in his sleep little over a month after his release in 2000. The twins were punished for the injustice was served. The seemingly nice twins adapted and became the environment around them. They killed anyone who got in their way and let violent crimes consume them. They never fled the life of crime. Instead, they welcomed it and got nowhere. In the end, no one benefited from their rule over East London. Knowing what you know after listening to my speech, you view these brothers differently, and the dangerous lives they lived they were loved by some and hated by most. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Did either of the twins have a normal life outside of
Reggie Cray got married to one of the firm's sister. Thank you for your question, by the way. It's a great question. Her name was Frances. She got addicted to pills, and one day she took too many and killed herself, which is really what started his spiral downward. And then he killed, Jack the Hat, and that's really what kind of set him off. Thank you for your question. Yes.
So this is sort of a two-part question, but since you saw the movie, what was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene of the movie, thank you for your question, was probably, there was a lot of good parts. Okay, so like the first time Reggie got out of jail and he went back to the bar, like where his brother was at. That's a really good scene. They get into a fight, and it's really interesting to watch one actor play two people in a movie, but they pulled it off excellently.
And the second part, how did you feel when you first learned about their history?
I was very interested because, like I said, gangsters are very interesting to me. I'm Italian, so I don't know if that has anything to do with that. I really don't, but
it seemed like Godfather.
Yeah, Godfather, yeah, and yeah, it was just interesting. Yeah. Yes.
Are you a member of the mom?
I want to be. So if you know anybody that's recruiting, let me know. Thank you for your question.
That's okay.
Where you can find me at.
Good job, good job. All right, you guys, you are all free to go. Julia, you have your extra credit. Thank you very much for coming and being an audience member.